Special guest King Kylie.
Yes, how y'all doing? MIT King Khalid, federal government work over 20 some years, Army veteran. Uh, what can I say? Founder of the TriangleResource.com, www.triangleresource.com, and my philanthropy team, Operation Love the Homies.
Okay, so tell us about yourself. Like, how did you get into doing your foundations?
All right, so we're gonna go right into it. Actually. All right, all right. So real quick, I'm gonna try to make this as quick as possible because I know we're running behind. So everybody, pay attention real quick because stay with me. All right. So I'm gonna give y'all a little story real quick. All right.
It's no rush, brother. Take your time.
All right, bet no rush then. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm long with it, so y'all just cut me off. All right, we'll get to it. All right, so I'm gonna give y'all a little story real quick. All right, I'm gonna give y'all a story about how God saved my life. Okay, how He can turn a negative thing into a positive thing. How He can bring the light from the dark. You hear me? This is some real talk right here. I'm an early childhood trauma advocate, mental health awareness advocate.
I can hear you, brother.
Oh, you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Okay. You unmuted, Joe?
I don't got nothing on.
Nah, I hear echo.
Can you hear me?
Yours is unmuted?
Yeah. Okay.
You gotta mute yours.
Mine is muted.
Yours is?
Yes, mine is.
So why did I start hearing them?
Yeah.
You're not muted.
I unmuted it just now before I heard them. Y'all can hear me?
Yeah,
It's the
I can hear you clear.
The people on the Zoom.
No, I can't hear anything. No. They may be playing a record.
I think everybody on mute.
Oh, you're not playing a record?
What's that?
Oh, she's saying they're not playing a record. Okay, so you can. Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you guys.
We can hear them, but it's a little echo. It wasn't like that before.
I don't think they can hear us.
You can't hear us at all? Oh, you know what? My bad. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. We got 'em.
There's a crazy feedback. The feedback is crazy.
All right.
Okay, we good now.
Yeah.
Is anybody else in here on there except me and you?
Nah,
Y'all
we just-
streaming live?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we can't hear them anymore.
You can't hear us no more? Can you hear us?
Well, do you have to be unmuted?
No, they should be able to hear me. I don't think I should be unmuted.
You guys can hear me? No?
Hey, yo, everybody, the weather has thrown everything off.
It's like a
So
motherfucker.
we're going to get things going in a minute, properly.
Oh, wait. Let me see something. Try it. Let me see. Try it now. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. It's just feedback.
I don't know where that feedback is coming from. It wasn't like that before.
We got to recalibrate everything.
Yeah, we're going to make it work, bro.
Let's
What
get-
about now?
Yes.
You still get the feedback? A little bit.
A little bit of feedback.
But that's better than it was.
Yeah, I'm trying to understand where it's coming from now. What about now? Still feedback? It is. I hear it. I don't
Just
know.
minimal feedback. It's getting better.
And you sure you muted?
I'm muted.
AirPods.
I'm muted.
Yeah.
But y'all can hear us though, right? Can you hear us now, V?
Are you hearing her? Or are you hearing?
I can hear you, Brandon. I can hear you.
You hearing her through the computer? Or you like? Can you hear these sound effects?
I'm still hearing a little.
Did you hear that sound effect
I heard that.
clearly?
Yes.
Can you hear what's coming through the computer? So
Yeah. So I don't know.
man, this is what I'm saying. I hate when I gotta start over shit. Pissing me off. I mean, if it's minimal, I guess we could just continue this way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can continue. Let's press.
Let's go.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so go ahead.
Okay, let's get this thing going. All right. First off, everybody, thanks for your patience. You know, the inclement weather has caused a lot of technical difficulties, but we're getting it all under control. All right. What I was saying a while ago is I'm going to tell y'all a story about how God saved my life. All right. How He can turn a negative into a positive. How He can bring a light from the dark. And I'm going to tell you exactly how that goes down. First thing is I'm a early childhood trauma advocate and also a mental health advocate. And I'm out here raising awareness as much as I can about different things. And First thing I want to start off with is early childhood trauma and how to express your early childhood trauma. See, if you don't express your early childhood trauma in a positive way, it'll come out in a negative way. And these negative ways, examples are alcoholism, drug addiction, violence, you know, molestation, well, not molestation, I'm sorry, that's part of my situation. Just all those type of negative characteristics that you can build, and that's what happens to you when you have early childhood trauma and you bottle up inside and you don't release it in a positive way. So I'm gonna just start from the beginning of how things went for me. And my early childhood trauma started as early as adoption. Yeah, we good?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, was from adoption, and from there. Hold on, I can hear that.
It's like an echo.
Yeah, that's the just go ahead. This is the best it's gonna be.
That's the best. All right, let's just go. All right, we just gonna push through. All right, I'm gonna just freestyle this thing too, man. I ain't gonna mess with it. All right, let me just do it like I normally would do if I was on the street. All right,
Do that.
so check this out. All right. So I'm here to tell y'all the story, like I said, how God saved my life. Let's start from the beginning of it, all right? Early in my life, I had separation from the mother very early. This is trauma, all right? Right after that, you know, I had experienced some racism from whites and blacks. Me being an Asian American man growing up in PG County in D.C. area, it was real rough on our brother. So I was fighting all the time and wrecking all the time. So this is a form of trauma. And I was very young doing this. People was picking on me, this and that, because I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, you know, black, to be honest with you. Or and then on the white community, when I went down the country with my pops and them, they ain't really like me down there because I wasn't white. So I was experiencing racism on both sides. This is definitely trauma that's going on. So I'm already dealing with the separation from the mother, the adoption, and then I'm dealing with racism. Come around 9 years old, check this out, 9 years old, this is very important, that I was sexually molested by older teenage girls. All right, that right there was a very big, devastating blow to me. And it had sent me in a very, very dark place because I was very confused and embarrassed. See, I don't understand, I don't remember the act of it, what happened when I was young, but I remember the feeling, you know, the emotion that I was having that was bottled up, the confusion and the embarrassment and stuff like that, because I didn't know what was going on. We were, you know, forced to do everything that was on the film. So you already know how exclusive that was. So that was where I was at with that. Right after that, around 11 years old, my brother had caught a body for, he got charged for murder and sent to prison for life. And that was like the only thing that I had left in my family at the time. So what I do? I turned to the streets. I didn't have nothing. So when I went to the streets, I had an OG pull me in. This OG pulled me in. He taught me the streets. He taught me the game. He taught me how to get money. He taught me how to bang. He taught me how to do all that stuff, right? And that's what I was like, cool, this was it. Because, you know, in the streets, you form a bond with your crew, and that's like a family right there. And we were a band of a bunch of brothers that were lost with no mothers, no fathers, people's on drugs, you know. So it was like a bunch of, like maybe 10 of us that got together. So with that being said, you know, when you're in the streets like that, you start taking on everything that's in the streets. All the negative characteristics starts coming to you and all of that. And this is where I found this first thing that I thought was my first true love, because it helped me deal with the trauma that I was dealing with. See, I didn't have an outlet. I didn't know how to express it. So I turned to the first thing that I thought, which was alcohol. See, I got introduced to alcohol at a very early age, and when I took that first drink, man, all the pain and the suffering that I was going through went away like that. So I was like, this is it. This is it for me. This is what it's going to be. At 11 years old, I started drinking like if I was an old grown man, just to get rid of the trauma. And it was just terrible, you know, the way I was dealing with. So just to fast forward that up a little bit real quick, I'm going to bring you like 30 years. 30 years I had to suffer with alcoholism. And during these 30 years of alcoholism from early childhood trauma, instead of me expressing myself in a positive way, I stayed in a negative way. The violence, the drugs, the alcohol, the manipulation, the narcissism, all of these were the characteristics that I thought that who I was. And that's what had happened, because I didn't express it in no other kind of way. So, you know, what happens to you when you start dealing with drugs and alcohol too much? Let me just tell you what happens to you. Of course, it's a disease, all right? It's a progressive disease, and alcoholism and drug addiction will both progressively kill you. You know, that's why I call it a progressive disease, because they will both progressively kill you. It's just the difference is alcoholism will drag you for 30 years, and you ruin everybody's life on the way, and then it'll kill you. And then hard drugs just kill you really fast. Either way, you end up dead. And that's, you know, alcoholism and drug addiction, that's what it will do to you. And that's where I had got to. See, by the grace of God, for 30 years, I was able to maintain a balanced life. I was able to be a functioning alcoholic. I was able to take care of my children. I was able to go to work, still be successful, did a lot of good things in life because I was, like I said, by the grace of God, I stayed balanced. So I went into service and I picked up alcoholism even more in service because I went to war and dealt with PTSD and I came home and X, Y, Z. But back to speeding up to it was. So if you're dealing with a disease of alcoholism and drug addiction, it will progress on to that point where it'll push you to where you lose all your morals, your standards, and your values. You just become like a shell of a human being. You know, you don't really care about them things that you care about, like walking down the street with your kids and all that, knowing that it's not even a thought of yours anymore. So with that, with that being said, I have this thing that I came up with. I don't say for sure that it's, the darkness had crept on me so bad that I had reached this point where I call suicidal ideology. All right, so I had put myself to a point where I wouldn't physically take my own life, but I would put myself in situations that would probably end up in the result of death, like drinking nonstop, doing drugs so much to where I could OD, going 115, 120 down the beltway, just putting myself in these situations, and that's where I was. See, I thought I had it all under control. I had, at the time, which I'm not no more, I was married. And I had a family, had my kids, I had 2 houses, I had a career, worked for the government. I thought I had it all. I did have it all, and I had something else. I had a disease, and I was very sick. And it progressed on to the end. And that's when I got to the end. And just to bring it up to you real quick, to sum it up, and this is how it all comes together. So during this time of alcoholism, it started, spiraling all the way out of control, and I no longer cared about anything that I was doing anymore. The dark place had me, the evil one had me. I was back in the streets, I was back hustling. I was back selling dope. I was out banging, shooting at Bammers and everything. This is like, it went all the way hard. Went back into moving with the women again, started manipulating the women, becoming a narcissist, started sleeping with women non-stop and just treating them bad again. This is all the way I went back. And mind you, at the time I was married. Now, I wasn't like that at first, but my disease had progressed so bad that it took me over to where I was lost. So, of course, I had to blame everybody else. It was their fault, your fault, your fault, your fault of the reason why this was happening to me. But we all know that it was me. So while I was blaming everybody about it being their fault, I figured that I want to inflict harm. See, one night I got really, really twisted, and I thought it was, my ex-wife's fault. So I was going down there to, I don't know what I was going to do. But I know it was a negative situation. I was going down there, I was twisted, and I was high, and I was going down there to I don't even know. I don't want to get into it. I don't want to say I wanted to go down there and hurt her or harm her, but that's kind of what I guess I was going down there with negative intentions. But I do know when I got there, and by the grace of God, she was not there. So I sit in the house, and I spaz out, I drink more, and I black out, and I wake up in the morning, and I wake up to bullets and blood in my lap. And I'm like, oh my God, what have I done? Have I killed her? Listen up, ladies and gentlemen, because this is where it gets tricky. So right there in that moment, I had a spiritual divine intervention. The good Lord came to me in my subconscious. It came through my body, and he touched me. He said, son, right now I'm going to give you a choice between life or death. What do you choose? That last little remnant of God. See, if you're a God-fearing man and you believe in God, then that last little bit of remnant will always be there, because God will always love you. He'll be there. He'll never turn your back on you. But it's going to be you that's going to have to make that decision when that time comes. See, a lot of people turn to God when their life is in line, and that's what we're trying to get away from. But that's where I was. So my life was on the line, and I knew that death was knocking on my door. So I chose life. Within 24 hours, the person that I wanted to harm got me into recovery. In recovery, they started talking to me and telling me these things about how to challenge yourself on 21 days and how to create a better habit. Replace a bad habit with a good habit by doing 21 consecutive days of the good habit, and replace it with a bad habit, and you will break that bad habit. And that's real talk. When I was in recovery, I heard this, and it intrigued me. And it also intrigued me about how alcohol and drugs destroy the brain by the science. See, it breaks down how your mind functions. The alcohol and the drugs break your mind down so bad that different parts of your brain take over, and you start not being able to control yourself, because your animal instincts rely on your brainstem. Once that takes over, and it did for me, then it's fight, flight, or freeze. And at the time, this is what I do. So when people was talking to me, I was always, why are you always picking with me? You know what I mean? And then when I try to have a regular conversation, it sounds like this. You know what I'm saying? And, because I was gone. All right? And that's what had happened to me. But so when I was in recovery, there I started to heal. All my morals and my standards and my values started coming back to me. All right, right there I found myself, my relationship with God started to grow again. And then I turned myself back to the God. And then I made a pact with God that since he saved my life, I'm going to give him my life. And I'm going to do everything that I can in my power to help God and his people and whatever it do. So I made a pact. And I said, look, Lord, when I get out of here, one of my boundaries is going to be I'm going to serve the less fortunate. I'm going to find a way to serve the less fortunate. So, ladies and gentlemen, after 30 years, I cracked alcoholism by the grace of God. Thank you. That was amazing right there.
We're not.
We are live.
Y'all can't hear.
We live.
Yeah.
We're live.
Is this supposed to be streaming live?
Yes.
No, I can't hear.
Dang, what happened? They could hear us at first.
He should be able to hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but I can't hear them.
He can't hear us.
Yeah, I can't hear either.
He can't. But he can hear you.
They can hear each other. They mean they can't hear. They hear each other. They can't.
They can't hear me.
Can you hear us?
Okay. Good.
The weather, man, the weather.
It's bad. Okay. So, Shantae.
Yeah.
You have compiled a couple of things for us to kind of do some critical thinking with. So,
Well, as a part of the wellness check,
I don't know why it's like that. That shit just don't make no sense.
Yeah, this.
we're working on it. We're working on it.
But that's, I'm gonna close that real quick though. That's just how I'm just trying to tell everybody. That's how a positive can come from a negative. Like good stuff like that.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Faintly.
I don't understand. I mean, everything should be.
Everything.
So you
I
can't.
ain't touched nothing.
I heard you well that time.
Which
Okay.
time? When she said I ain't touched nothing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know what's going on.
Shit worked.
Can you hear?
perfect last time.
He can't hear us. He still can't hear.
Yeah, I heard you guys that time.
Okay. Good.
How is it off and on like that?
Okay. Perfect. So Shantae, go ahead, and you and Mr. Patrick will each give y'all a synopsis.
well, let's first talk about what therapy is. So, therapy is a treatment to address trauma, which he talked about trauma, emotional distress, and various mental health issues and disorders.
Excuse me. What happened? I didn't hear. Something had went down. Did you say?
He didn't hear it. We didn't hear it. He didn't hear it.
He didn't hear it either?
You didn't hear it. You didn't hear what she said.
No, say it one more time.
About therapy?
Yeah.
What therapy is?
No, I mean I know what therapy is. But was it a question that you was asking me?
No, it wasn't a question.
Oh, okay. I'm
Just letting
sorry.
people know what it is.
What it
Oh
is.
yeah, therapy. Well, thank
Because
you. Yeah.
sometimes people are unsure what it is and they don't seek help or therapy because they may not know exactly what it is. And therapy is just an avenue, a conduit to help you address issues that you may have, whether it's challenges, help you to navigate through life. A lot of times people go into therapy just for stress.
Right.
So that's part of therapy. What a therapist is not going to do is direct your life and give you advice. We're not here to do that. You direct your own life. We're here to give you the tools so that you can navigate through it on your own.
Part of therapy is like sharing, right?
It is. You do a lot of self-exploration and reflection.
Hey, I didn't know sharing was like that helps you as much as it does. I did not think so because when I first got to recovery and I told myself to share, the first day I shared my first story, I mean, immediately I felt better.
Well, it could be very cathartic too, because just imagine you're holding all of that in, and you have to let that out. I mean, it's almost like a pressure cooker. You're keeping all of those emotions, feelings, trauma in, and at some point, it's going to explode in some way.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely one to tell you that I have witnessed it firsthand.
For me, you know, I know we've had a few technical difficulties tonight. That's all right. Because the message that we're sharing tonight super transcends any technical difficulties you may have experienced.
Amen.
I believe that the trials that we endure in life and survive have very little to do with us and everything to do with those that we encounter on this very short journey called life. And if I can impart anything to anyone on this very short journey that I'm on, that I've survived, I would say that your mental health is more important than your financial wealth.
Yeah, I hear that.
Because what good is a lot of money to a damaged mind? It's worthless.
Definitely.
A lot of people are walking around literally believing that happiness can be purchased or sold, and it cannot. Happiness is intrinsic.
Right.
As someone who has survived childhood trauma and caused trauma on others as a result of my own trauma.
Yeah, that's what I used to do, nonstop.
Until I came to terms with, what it was that I was dealing with. It was only then that I learned how to deal with others. So to bring it home to the point that I was saying about, the imperative nature of therapy in our community. Listen, if you have cancer, you can't go to the medicine cabinet to cure it. You have to go somewhere else to cure it. So if you're holding some things that you know that you're holding on to by the tips of your fingernails and they're splitting at the fibers, find yourself a good therapist. That doesn't make you weak, it makes you strong.
Amen. It is good to talk to somebody.
VA Hip Hop News on here, and you had a question geared towards social media.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, one of the questions that came in was, how do you think social media has impacted our mental health?
So, Virginia,
How
what
is
you
social
think?
media? Wow.
VA Hip Hop. Hold on, Mr. Patrick. Mr. VA Hip Hop. Being you're on social media and an influencer, and you have this huge news page. How does that affect your everyday mental dealing with?
What was your question again?
How does social media affect your everyday mental health?
To be honest with you, I got social media to it's basically kind of like a hobby, but as far as personal social media, I don't really have any personal social media, but I'm not sure how it would affect my mental health or not, but I don't know. I'm sure social media has some issues, but seeing a lot of stuff on there, like crime. And I post the news, like I post a lot of stuff going on in Virginia. So it's a lot of rough stuff going on lately. It make you feel some type of way. Make you feel like the world, it's not the world you know what I'm saying, you know it to be. Because you out here living, you going to work, and you know what I'm saying, you taking care of your kids, and you know what I'm saying, you out here living. But I'm reporting the news, and I see all this tragic news, and I'm like, man, that could have been me. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of affected me in a way, like, you know what I'm saying, it's kind of upsetting, all the stuff that be going on in Virginia. And I would say that probably it kind of takes its toll on my mental health a little bit. Sometimes I don't want to see the news. Like I don't want to wake up, but that's what I do. I post the news, so I go look on the news and I get the news. And I'm like, man, please be some good news today. Most of the time it's bad news. It's unfortunate.
Man,
I see the youngins out here, they brag about it. Like, most of the bad news I post about, they brag about it. Like, man, you know how hard I fought to get away from that type of stuff. So that kind of, you know what I'm saying, affect me a little bit too. Like, man, how can I reach these youngins, man? I don't know. Not too good at talking, but yeah.
brother, I
I
tell
think you
you,
feel where I'm coming from.
it's funny you say you're not too good at talking, but you just said a lot in that short time. You know,
Yeah,
and what you said really,
What happened?
fills my heart with a lot of joy.
Where'd it go?
You know what I'm saying? That you're out here posting the news because you are trying to make people aware. You know what I mean? So yo, I say keep doing what you're doing, man, because that's very
I'm sorry, keep going.
important. It might not seem like it to the people that comment or necessarily respond, but yo, that's very important, man. And I feel you on that for sure.
appreciate you, bro.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no
No
doubt,
doubt.
man. That's some good
No doubt.
information. I appreciate that too.
No doubt.
I feel like social media
Hey, look.
impacts people's mindsets a lot.
Yeah,
you.
definitely.
Something else with the social media, like right now, I'm showing y'all my face. I did not plan to come on here and show y'all my face. I don't put my face out there. I don't put myself out there. I don't let nobody know who I am.
Yeah, I told them you was gonna be anonymous today.
Well, I'm not showing your face right now, so I didn't. She said you didn't want to be seen, so only we see you. Our viewers are not going to see you.
Yes.
Yeah, I felt, you know what I'm saying, out of respect, I should show y'all my face. I didn't want to be on here with a, image up there, like a blank image or something, but I put my pride to the side and turn the camera on. Just so I can see
Definitely
y'all.
appreciate that. We can see you, but they can't see you.
Yes.
We didn't put nobody. I could have put y'all on there, but I
Appreciate that.
didn't.
Right, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Mr. G, what's your take?
On social media?
Yeah.
Listen, I think this social media has its pluses, but the deltas or the downside to it. No shade to the deltas because I know they're gonna be like, oh no shade to the deltas. I'm not getting into a Greek argument. No shade to anyone. There are a lot of downsides to it too. I wake up to social media and I see grown men cracking eggs on their faces for likes on Facebook, Instagram, and Snapchat. That shit is dumb. And I don't even know if I can curse, but
Yeah,
when
you
I was a
good.
little, all right, good, but that shit is dumb. Because when I was a little boy, you know what I'm saying? When I was a little boy, I dreamt of being a man that drove a car and had keys to a house that had a woman on the inside of it that was proud to see me come home when I turned the key. Now you got grown men on real life social media cracking eggs on their face. And everything is a challenge. You know what the greatest challenge is for people at this moment? Yo, how in the hell can we make a better place? Can we have a make the world a better place challenge?
Right, that'd be nice.
Can we have a like no more homeless challenge? Can we have a no more hungry?
Yeah, period.
You know?
Yeah. Speaking of homeless, man, that's what I do. I do a lot of philanthropy work, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like no
Yeah.
more homeless challenge. Can we have a no more hungry challenge? Can we have kids graduating from high school on time challenge?
Right.
Can we have a father, if you get a young lady pregnant, can you stay with her challenge? You know what I'm saying? Can we do
That's a
that?
hard one right there.
So you said something about post-traumatic stress.
PTSD, yeah.
What's the difference between anxiety and post-traumatic stress?
Okay,
Can you let me know?
I can.
Okay.
So anxiety presents itself and manifests as feelings of restlessness, excessive worry, irritability, difficulty concentrating. You can have heart palpitations, sweaty palms,
Sweaty
things
palms.
like that, shortness of breath, feelings of impending doom. Anxiety can also be a part of PTSD. Most people with PTSD experience anxiety. There are two different things though, because anxiety is a disorder all itself. Then you have PTSD, and PTSD typically stems from trauma, some type of trauma, and that trauma manifests itself as PTSD. You have nightmares and flashbacks. You have memories of the trauma that can cause you emotional distress. You also have a heightened reaction, which also represents itself or manifests itself as anxiety. So there's definitely two different things, and we can say that anxiety does manifest itself within PTSD.
I was about to say that. I feel like anxiety. I feel like
Well, it's one of the symptoms.
it's one of the symptoms of PTSD.
I was about to say PTSD is an umbrella of a bunch of different
A
things.
bunch of things, right.
I'm 80% disabled veteran just strictly off of PTSD. You know what I mean?
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate it, man. I had a lot
Definitely.
happen to me out there, but I ain't gonna get into all that. But outside of that, the anxiety, I used to deal with that a lot. I don't know how over time it's then gotten better, but I still have them just frequently, just riding. I hear some noise, I hear a boom or boom, I start feeling anxiety. But see, the anxiety that she talking about is different with the PTSD. When I get anxiety, it ain't that I'm afraid, I'm scared. It's like I'm ready to. I'm on a heightened level.
It's not always fair. I feel like anxiety. I don't think that people think it's always
scared.
fair.
Yeah, it's
just a feeling.
Yeah,
I feel like
you been off a little bit.
It's a heightened feeling. Like when she described it, it's almost like
Typically
it's a
happens
physical
lot of
feeling.
those
Yeah,
things. Exactly.
it's a physical feeling more than like.
I gotta take medication for it because see what happens to people when they go through PTSD. A real bad trauma is like you take your brain to a level. You heighten your brain up to a big level, and your brain searches for that. So when you come down from that level, right, your brain has reached that point. So now it wants to do whatever it takes to get yourself back to that level. And then PTSD can come in, and so you get that something that'll remind you of it. Next thing you know, you want to go do something wild, so you can feel like you brought yourself back to that place again. You know what I mean? That's trauma, man. That stuff's real. Cause I remember people used to be like, why are you doing 115 down the road off of no reason? Like, what's going on with you? And I'm like, this is normal. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, this is cool. This is where I'm comfortable. It's bad because so much trauma has caused me to be in that heightened space so much that I search for that space on the regular. You know what I mean? And that's where I feel comfortable at. And that's sad because being shook up and worried all the time is a place that I find comfort in. And that's crazy because I'm really not comfortable. It's like a catch-22. It's like, man, this is what I'm searching for because this is what my mind wants to feel. But then when I get there, I'm all, like, man.
It's just a comfortable space. To be honest, I come from the projects, you know what I'm saying, in New York. Same. It was war. You feel me?
Definitely.
But I was way more comfortable in the projects than I was on a regular street in New York City where it was so much people.
Exactly.
Because I was comfortable with what was going on in my projects.
Exactly.
I knew that at any moment someone could come up and do whatever. I'm prepared for that.
Always on the switch.
I'm not prepared for what I don't know. I'm not prepared for what's going on in Manhattan when Manhattan is way more safe than my projects. But in my projects, I feel safe because I lived through that and I know how to survive in that.
Yeah, that's where your mind.
You feel what I'm saying?
You heighten to that area. You hip to that.
Exactly.
You're comfortable. That's what you. Matter of fact, you're comfortable.
Go ahead, Mr. G.
It's so crazy, man, that you use that analogy. You know what I'm saying? When you say that Manhattan is way more safe than your project, and you're right about that. But you know what's ill about that? The super thieves live in Manhattan.
Oh, that's a fact. I know how it gets.
You know what I'm saying? The super thieves live in Manhattan. So what happens?
But that's the point. I don't know them, and I never dealt with that.
You don't know them,
so I don't know, and that might not be even as bad as my projects. But I would be more, weary of that. You get what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah, you're more familiar with your surroundings. You're more comfortable in the surroundings.
Right.
Because what happens is that anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder, they're not linear. They're multidimensional. You know what I'm saying? And they manifest themselves in a variety of ways, for many different people. I'll share something personal with you guys. A few years ago, I was driving down the highway, and out of nowhere, it felt like my mind did a somersault, and I was afraid to drive. Terrified to drive.
Really?
My palms started sweating. My vision was blurry. You know what I'm saying? Like super blurry. I just felt like I thought I was having a heart attack.
Damn.
It wasn't. I was having an anxiety attack. It came out of nowhere. But that comes from compartmentalizing, a lot of the things that I was going through and not necessarily expressing them. And then I had to deal with them in that way. And then I had to face the worst thing ever, exposure therapy. Because be clear, you know what I'm saying? I'm a black man in America. I don't have the option to not go to work because I'm scared to drive. I had to drive anyway.
Yeah.
What's exposure therapy for people that don't know like me?
All right, so exposure therapy is the things that you're afraid of, you're confronting them head on. You're confronting them head on. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, if I'm going to die doing this, I'm going to die fighting.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. I like that, honestly. Like, that's my, I like to be uncomfortable at this point in my life. You know what I'm saying? When I was younger, like I said, and I was scared to be outside my projects, I've traveled so much. I've been in so many. I've lived in Baltimore. You feel me? I lived in the craziest places just to get money, and I feel like I rather be uncomfortable and I'd rather be exposed. I'd rather all that what you just said. I'd rather that because it's over, and I ain't got to worry about. I don't like worrying. You feel what I'm saying? So I like
sure.
being in places now that I don't know about because I'm so eager to understand it now.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like if somebody say, "Yo, we gonna go down this block and we don't know what's gonna happen," that kind of excites me at this point. You understand what I'm saying? Even my fears, things that I fear that I used to fear, I'm excited. Like when I moved out here, I had no plan. You feel what I'm saying? Right. No plan, no job, no nothing. It's just the middle of the night. I just bounced. I put everything in the whip, and I just drove down here.
Nice.
You feel what I'm saying? It was just like at this the point in my life when I moved out here, I was just ready. There was no coming to Black Ink or none of that. I didn't have no plan. You know what I'm saying? All I had was a cousin that said, "Yo, if you," I told her what the plan was. She said, "All right, well, I'm about to move. You can take over my house." You know what I'm saying? But then when I got down here, she lost her job, and then she looked at me and said, "I can't even do that no more." So, another person, would have panicked at that point or went home. Shit, I found an apartment. I made it happen. Right. You feel what I'm saying? With exactly. When I say I barely had anything, like it wasn't like I was coming down here super duper. You know what I mean? Like it was no plan. It was no, you know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I've just gotten to the point where I feel like when I get comfortable, this is I guess the problem for me. Whenever I'm comfortable, something bad happens. So that's why I like being uncomfortable, because if I stay uncomfortable, that means I'm always working towards keeping things right. Because I feel like whenever I ever got comfortable somewhere, wherever I felt things was cool, the world showed me that it ain't.
Well, I commonly tell my clients that discomfort is good. It's a good thing because it promotes growth. Right. Because when you're comfortable, you become complacent.
Right.
And we don't want that.
That's what I was about to say. I was like, when you step out your comfort zone, that's when you evolve. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Evolution comes out. You stay in your comfort zone at all times. You just chill. You're gonna want to do nothing to make yourself learn something else. Right. When you're uncomfortable, you got no choice. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's good to evolution. Uncomfortable is a good thing.
And I don't mean to go in circles, but I never got to really say anything about the social media thing. But I do. The problem I have with social media is that social media was supposed to be like the first the dude from Virginia. What's it called? Hip-hop. Oh, VA hip-hop. Like he said, it was supposed to be entertainment. My problem is people take it too serious now. You understand what I'm saying? Right. So I feel like people feel like, you unfollow them, it's a problem. They feel like, if you posting something, that means that you going through it. You know what I'm saying?
It's so funny you say that.
If you post something, then you talking about them. You know what I'm saying?
But what about the people that post something and they don't get no likes? They blown.
They mad.
Oh, they
then
blown.
Because social media is also addictive. So
yeah, but that has nothing to do with the purpose of it. Like, I'm in a relationship. It's problems with who stuff I might like. You understand what I'm saying? There's problems with who I'm following. You get what I'm saying? Like at the end of the day, I feel like people take it, and then all these people that are starting to get money off of it. Then you got what you was talking about, where now people cracking eggs over their heads and doing and coming out of character to try to get money versus just, are you doing this for fun? Or are you trying to go viral? Like, what are we doing here? Sure. So I just feel like, honestly, social media this last generation has been raised by social media. So if it ain't on a meme, it ain't right. And that's what I start telling people, that it's sad because of social media, perception is the new reality. It's not about what it really is. It's about what people think it is at this point. It does not matter if you're rich or not. What matters is if people think you're rich, because you can become rich from them thinking you rich. These niggas get on social media and say, "Yo, let me teach you how I got my first million," and they don't have it. Then all the people that bought they lectures made them their first million.
That is true.
You feel what I'm saying? True. Like, perception has become the new reality. It's about what people think, what they perceive, more than what it is. Wow. And that shit is sad. Yeah, that's sad to me.
So, VA, let me ask you a question. Being as like we're a lot younger than my guests here. I love y'all.
Really?
Right. What was that? Was it a shot?
Yeah, we trying to call me
old. Yeah, you put. Damn.
I'm a 70s baby.
See, and I was born in the 90s.
I was born in 79.
I was born in 79 too, brother.
Yeah,
I can't be the oldest one.
Go ahead, young lady. Since you want to be that, what's your question to the young man, young lady? Go ahead.
I was born in 1970. I guarantee you ain't nobody in here older than me.
Okay,
nah, you got it. I'm 79, but you got it.
So, being as you are in the age of social media and you have the platform you have, how would you direct the younger generation towards mental health, like getting help and all of that extra? Because they follow social media so much. So how do you get them to interact and seek the help they need to seek and all that extra type of stuff? Does that make sense?
To be honest,
No,
y'all hear me?
I don't know if that question was good.
Yeah, we
Yeah, we
can
can hear you, bro. We can hear you.
My
be
bad.
honest
I
with
just
you,
said, yeah.
Yeah, it
I
makes sense.
honestly wouldn't know because I don't know myself how to seek it, or I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I've never thought that I needed any sort of mental health help or anything like that. So I wouldn't know how to direct anybody else towards it, or you know what I'm saying, steer anybody towards getting some help. Because myself, I don't really know how to do it.
I like this guy.
How old are you, brother?
I like
I'm
this guy.
30. I'm 31.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, Mr.
Yeah, I like
G,
this guy.
being as
Appreciate
you're in this field and you're a male, how would you
Talking to the mic.
direct him into finding himself needing help? Like, I wouldn't say finding himself needing help, but getting him to the point where he knows he needs help.
Well, he has to get himself to that point.
Hold on, let's pause for a second. How do we even know this man needs help?
He doesn't hypothetically.
Just
Yeah, y'all
Oh, it's
just-
hypothetically. Oh,
Yeah, it's like y'all trying to talk about how to get him to.
Can I say something? Can I
Yes,
say
yes,
something?
yes, yes. Go ahead.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I say something to y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
As an
Yeah.
educator, today, with my students, we're working on social justice projects,
Okay.
where students have to choose somebody that they think made a valuable contribution to society. And they wanted to write about the value of their contribution. And I say this unapologetically. I work in a school primarily comprised of white kids. That's true. That's where my contract landed. One of my students today chose to write a paper on Kyle Rittenhouse. So you know how I know that we're all experiencing we're all experiencing mental trauma? Yo,
Have
Kyle Rittenhouse is still walking.
Yeah. Absolutely.
George Zimmerman is still walking. Darren Wilson is still walking. You understand what I'm saying to you? Now we got some justice with the cop who killed George Floyd, but he's still breathing.
yeah.
We'll kill our own people over a dislike on social media, and we'll kill our own people over an issue with a drink at the club. So yeah, we got trauma.
Yeah.
definitely.
So asking somebody who's addicted to social media how to seek therapy from an addiction to social media is the equivalent of giving a crackhead, complete access to crack and expecting them to go seek therapy from using it.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Deep.
Broke that down. That's nice.
So it's just that.
Hey, that was nice.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, I got a little something too. If you don't mind, I want to share something for the young brothers out here. So all my young sons, I got 3 sons, man. My 2 young sons, y'all listen. If y'all ever catch this, boys, y'all check this out. So first thing first is the man rules. See, society teaches men not to cry. Society teaches men not to show emotion. Immediately right there, we are setting our men up for failure. Young sons, it's okay to cry. It's okay to show your emotion. Because if you leave it bottled up and you keep it all inside, well, eventually one day you're going to let it out and we don't know how it's going to come out.
That's
you see
right.
how mine came out? It came out negative. And it took me years, 30 years, and I don't want to see that happen to nobody. So one, the man rules. Don't believe in them. Show your emotion, young men.
Right.
Talk about it. The BS movement, that's the next thing. Breaking the silence. You got to be able to talk about what happened. See, I go everywhere I go and telling everybody what happened to me, so now y'all can learn from me. If we keep our mouths shut, how are we going to be able to help each other? See, if you open your mouth and start the BS movement and break the silence, start telling brothers and sisters what's going on, then they can learn from you. You see what I'm saying? And so that's what I'm trying to tell my brothers and sisters and my youngest do. 1, forget the man rules. 2, the BS movement. And 3, if something has happened to you, find one person that you trust and you tell them. You tell them what has happened, and then y'all two together can build a bond and a trust, and then y'all can move forward and trying to get that handled. But at least you ain't gonna be doing that by yourself.
Right.
All right, so that's the 3 things I can give out to my young brothers and sisters. No man rules. There it is.
Everybody knows I have a son too, and so does Shantae here. He's actually an adult now, guys. Hi, Raymond. Love you.
You just telling everybody age, but go ahead.
And we know Rich. Rich,
Exactly.
you have.
I have a young daughter. She's 6.
Okay.
We're young over here.
So,
Oh, that's nice, man.
so
That's
how
nice.
do
Thank you.
and
Congratulations.
Mr.
That's
G,
great.
of course, he teaches
I appreciate it.
children. And Mr. G, do you have children?
I do. Too.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
how did you guys manage to keep their mental health intact? How did it? How did you?
Our children's mental health.
Yeah, like how did you keep them from?
Listen, one thing my mother used to say: "Tell the truth, spite the devil." I can't tell you that I've been a Bill Cosby as a father. In some respects, I've sacrificed my relationship with my own children in order to acquire success that I only dreamed about when I was a child. So once I have it figured out, I'll be able to give you a better answer. But while I'm still in the mud, I'm going to tell you I don't know.
Right. That's a good answer. A truthful answer, let me say.
How do you sustain and keep a child's mental health?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
Well, definitely, it's difficult because personally, I'm a therapist, but my son refuses to go to therapy. But the thing is that I talk to him. I speak positivity into his life. I encourage him. I created, as best I could, a positive, loving, encouraging environment for him. I've always had an open door policy. My son can talk to me about any and everything. There's no topic that's off of the table because we're our children's first teachers. So we have to have an environment where they feel comfortable at least coming to us if they have any type of challenges or difficulties. But I think it's very important to foster that positive and healthy relationship and environment. Also, I've worked with kids in the past, so sometimes we have to help develop their self-esteem. We have to watch how we speak to kids, what we say to kids, even the verbiage, because they absorb that like sponges.
That's a fact.
Well, I'm on the opposite side of that, man. I hate to say, because y'all created a positive space for your children. I used to create negative space for my children. All right, and I see the problems is with my kids now. See, my children are just now opening up to me again. See, I was too blind to see the damage that I was doing to them because I was so drunk and twisted all the time and too worried about my life. I wasn't thinking about the verbal abuse, the neglect. You got to think about them nights that I was hungover, drunk, and twisted, and they come and knocking on my door in the morning talking about they hungry, and I'm yelling at them because I'm hungover. See, this is the stuff I used to do to my children, but I was too blind to see that, and it does traumatize them, verbal. I mean, I got to give Queen Afi a shout out to domestic violence wears many tags, man, because I'll tell you right now that domestic violence or abuse can come in so many different forms. Verbal, physical, sexual, mental, it's all of it, and it all will damage your children. So please watch how you talk to your kids because I live it right now. I'm just now getting my kids to open up to me. They've been with me my whole life.
Too. We model behaviors for our children.
Yeah.
So the way that you communicate with your child would be the way that they go out here and communicate within society.
One be yelling at everybody.
What I was going to say also is, that question is hard to answer because I feel like you ain't going to know whether you help them with their mental health until they get that's back on. I can hear it.
Right.
You're not going to know if you help them until it's over. I mean, until not just over, but until they're older, until they're ready to come back and talk to you about it. Because with me, my parents had an open door policy. You know what I'm saying? So I have one too with my daughter. She can talk to me about anything. There's a lot of things that she can't probably necessarily tell her mom, but she'll come tell me. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like, there's so much outside influence because she goes to school that I can't help what goes on. I can't help who else is affecting her mental health. You got a little boy on the school bus that called her a bitch the other day. She's only 6. She never even heard that word until, you know what I'm saying? And this little boy is picking on her and calling her names. And then when I pick up off the bus, all the kids is rushing off like, oh, he was bothering her and he called her this and he was acting like he had a gun. He put it to her face. And my daughter don't know no better. So he put his fingers like that. She thinking it's a gun. You know what I'm saying? Like she's young, so
Man, it's 6 years old. Man.
yeah. And it's like, what can I do about the outside and what goes on outside?
Can't protect them from everything.
Right. So that's the point that I'm making. You'll never really know, how well you did until they're old enough to explain it to you, and also until you see how they deal with outside. Because since my family treated me like a superstar since I was a little kid. So because they did that, my confidence was so high that no one could affect it. That's why when you were saying, we need to talk more, be open, I don't care. Like, I'll tell niggas quick,
me too.
yo, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I ain't, I'm not afraid to talk about certain things. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say, yeah, I did all this, I did all that. No, I ain't hit it. No,
Well,
she ain't let me hit it. Or this ain't happen. You know what I'm saying? I keep it a buck.
Rich,
you know what I mean?
I challenge you to do this with your daughter. Have a weekly check-in with her, just to make sure she's okay, to find out what happened in her week. I'm not saying that you don't.
Oh, it's daily. It's daily.
Well, that's good.
It's daily. Every time she get off the bus, I want to know what happened with the boy, what happened in school.
That's what's up.
I want to know. I talk. It's daily because I know what I did younger with women. You know what I'm saying? Like, I knew I before, like, like I said, I'm open, so I didn't have sex till after high school. But I was one of the most popular niggas in my high school, and everything was mental with me. The reason why I didn't have sex in high school is because I was so popular. I felt like if I did and I didn't do well, they would talk about that. And I realized it wasn't pressure. It was strategic.
Wow.
Because I realized early that what people couldn't have, they wanted. So all the girls wanted me. I had the jewelry, I had the cars, I had the clothes, but I wasn't fucking none of these girls. Right. I had girls lying saying they had sex for me and they didn't. I'm laughing because in my head I'm like, shit, I'm a virgin. How you fuck me? But I ain't telling nobody that. You feel what I'm saying? Girls are saying they was pregnant and all that. But the point that I'm making is I learned from early what holding out can get you. So that's why I even, I'm 42 years old. In between years, I've gone 2 years without sex. I've gone a year. Because my thing is, I'm not just going to have sex with anybody. And, like I said, I'm strategic with my shit.
That's what's up, man.
You feel what I'm saying? But I just say that to say, in all of that, I'm comfortable with a lot of things because of that. You feel what I'm saying? And that's what I'm trying to. I'm trying to get my daughter to understand. Number one, she ain't got to run to no man because a lot of women ran to me to be daddy, not to be boyfriends, but to be daddy. You know what I'm saying? A lot of women were in relationships where they was unhappy and was dealing with me outside of the relationship. You understand what I'm saying? So I realized that I need to be there for her so much that she doesn't have to ever look to another man. You know what I'm saying? I want her to feel like she has somebody to the point where it's like, you know what? When she gets a boyfriend, her boyfriend's going to have to really fill some big-ass shoes. You feel what I'm saying? He can't never say no. You feel what I'm saying? And he got to treat her right because she going to treat him right. My daughter, when I'm finished eating, my daughter take my plate. You feel what I'm saying? She's certain, like she's 6. She already knows serve. Like, when I'm sitting there, I'm ready to get dressed. She gonna run and get the shoes, try to put the shoes on. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Like, she's already learning how to treat somebody because of how I treat her.
That's what's up.
You feel what I'm saying?
Starts, man, from us.
Yeah, exactly.
It starts from us.
Exactly.
Hey, yo, man, if I could say anything before I get off of this call, man, to people who are taking all of these pearls that everyone is given, or if you're in a position where you don't have what they're necessarily offering, I'll say this. A lot of times people talk about self-love, but before we can get to self-love, we got to get to self-like. And before we get to self-like, we got to get to self-acceptance.
Yes.
And as human beings, we are more than enough. We got to stop comparing ourselves in our lives to how somebody else is living.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because, like I heard a long time ago, what somebody else eat don't make me shit.
You feel me?
You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, man, be accepting of who you are, flaws and all. There's nothing wrong.
Right.
Every day that you're waking up is another day that's a reminder for you that your existence is not a mistake. And you have an opportunity to become everything that you dreamed of. You know what I'm saying? Flaws and all. And I'm not saying that because I read it. I'm not saying it because I studied it. I'm saying it because I lived it. Like my man said, he grew up believing he was a superstar. Me, shit. I grew up believing I was an extra in a D-list movie. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to do.
I grew up thinking I was Nino Brown.
For sure. You know what I'm saying? And I was able to do some pretty okay things in my life. You know what I'm saying? Accept yourself, man. And
Right.
if you ever need to talk to somebody, man, talk to somebody, but talk to them from a place of not just trust, but also risk. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a risk. They might turn their back on you. They might say some shit that you don't want to hear. But if you can start dealing in trust rather than fear, you're opening the door for growth. I really believe that.
That's a fact.
That's tight. I like that.
Thank you, Mr. G, for coming on. I really appreciate it.
You have any social media, anything you want to let them know where to find you?
Oh yeah, you can find me on social media. You know, and it's terrible. This might sound dumb, but I'm 52, so here it goes. You know what I'm saying? I'm at I too am human, lowercase I, the number 2 am human, HUEMAN. You know what I'm saying? My name is Patrick, and I would love to hear from you. If nothing else, man, I'm the type of guy. If you want to talk to me, I'm gonna talk to you. I'm not gonna send you a generic email or generic response. I'm gonna say, listen, I'm busy, but when I'm done, we can talk to. So if you need to talk, I'm here. That's me.
He's a great person to talk to.
Appreciate that, man.
Great person to talk to.
Yeah, for sure.
Appreciate that.
The downside is I suck at social media. 52, growing up in 7.
VA,
What's that?
you want to give me your social media?
It's VA Hip Hop and News with a Z. That's on Instagram. VA Hip Hop and News.
Let him know where you from.
Yeah, I'm from Virginia.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Born
We
and raised.
Shout out to VA.
No doubt.
What part of Virginia?
Yes, sir.
What part of
Yeah,
VA?
I grew up between Norfolk, Virginia, and Falls Church, Virginia.
One of our tattoo artists is from out there. His name Tattoo Q. That's why I asked.
Tattoo Q.
Yeah, he's the main artist right now here at Black Ink Atlanta. He just came from Virginia.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. Tattoos getting better and better, man. But I started getting on my thing like 2009. I ain't got a tattoo since.
That's all right, brother.
Man, I'm ready to get on. Yeah.
Took me to after 30 to get my
tattoo artists
first
getting better. I wish I got them. You know what I'm saying? I wish I got these
Before.
tattoos back then.
Right.
Yeah.
They look realistic now. Y'all want to give out your social media?
Yep. Would you like to give out yours?
Yeah, everybody that's watching, you can contact me on IG at King Khalid 27, Facebook, Gary G. Khalid Henson, HYNSON. You can go to my website, www.thetriangleresource.com, talk about my philanthropy work and stuff on there. And emails, thetriangle27@gmail.com. If I can drop one more gem real quick.
Go ahead, drop one more gem.
Hey, look, I do want to tell y'all, what was we talking about a while ago, about sharing and stuff like that. I want to just tell you, Rich Mo, about your daughter and stuff. And everybody that got kids, check this out. Alcoholism and drug addiction come from different kind of ways. The first direct way is hereditary. So one, how much do you love your children? Do you love them enough to do your research? Go back in your research and see if your mother or your father, your grandfather, your grandmother carry a disease in their body of alcoholism or drug addiction. Also mental health problems, because they could have that too. So do your research and look at that. Because if you in your house and you watching the Super Bowl and that Bud Light thing's running around and everybody's screaming and clapping at it, and that little kid watching you, he's carrying a 50-50 gene in him of alcoholism, and he picked that bottle up and drink it. Boom, it might be a chance you got an alcoholic on your hands.
True.
So that's one way to watch. So do your research. Two is self-esteem issues. All right, self-esteem issues drive you straight to drugs and alcohol. And I'm gonna tell you this right now: society has set us up for failure. One, the man rules, the same thing with your daughter. The women rules. Be careful when you're walking through supermarkets and what your children are looking at. They're looking at these Vogue magazines. They're looking at all these magazines. This is the picture of what we tell our children what they're supposed to look like. So say your daughter grows up at 13 years old and she don't look like that supermodel. Next thing you know, she's feeling down about herself, self-esteem broken. She wants to go do some Bama hot stuff to make herself feel better. Same with kids. Our children, listen up, man. You get your son. You tell your son, man, look, you're going to be just like Michael Jordan. You're going to be just like LeBron James. You're going to be just like Deion Sanders. Do you know Deion Sanders is an athlete in 3 different sports and he ran track? He is a freak of nature. You think every child going to be Deion Sanders? Boy, this is what a man look like.
Right.
If you don't look like that, you ain't nothing.
Yeah,
so you
not
breaking
good.
your kids down. I'm trying to tell brothers and sisters, man, it's a self-esteem issue. Be careful about what you telling your kids, and it starts as early as the womb. You go to your room, you start speaking that to your kid. Man, you a G, you a gangster, you this, you that. He feel that emotion. That kid in that junk,
ready to come out.
He ready to come out of there. But this is what you do to your kids. You can set your children up for failure by teaching them the wrong stuff. So be careful, and that can send your kids into alcoholism. That's the gem that's gonna drop.
Nah, I feel you, man. I just got my door. Let me give you some love on that one. I just got my daughter to like, it ain't just me and her mom. We just got her to liking her own hair because she wanted her hair like Elsa.
That's what I'm saying. See,
you know what I'm
you
saying?
gotta watch what they